Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. My name's Doc, and welcome to week 2 of Doc's Crypto Watchlist. This is a new YouTube series that I'm doing where I'll be covering the crypto markets every Monday. I'm going to be doing obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum. We'll do ES and DXY very, very briefly just for some a little bit of context. And then the rest of the video is going to be basically chart requests. If you guys have charts or coins or tokens you guys want me to cover on Mondays, feel free to drop those in Discord. The link to the Discord, which is by the way completely free and completely open to everyone, is going to be in the link. Is going to be in the description box below. So feel free to join and leave chart requests in that channel that's titled chart requests. So yeah, the way these videos are going to go, very easy. I'm just going to cover, like I said, ES and DXY real quick, just for some context. We'll do Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then we'll get into all the altcoins. A few of them I have been covering, so I won't spend too long on. Other ones that I think require some nuance, I'll talk about. And yeah, the video might end up being a little long, so feel free to jump around using the timestamps. I'll probably timestamp everything. Right, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get into the video. Okay, starting with ES, like I talked about last week in week 1 of the watch list, that ES had broken out of a long consolidation. So we had a consolidation for about 3 weeks where price was just ranging up and down. And then we had a breakout last week on Monday or Tuesday, right? So that breakout for me is a continuation signal. If ES is going to go up, then obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum, all crypto markets are going to go up. And, it's best not to fade. As a rule of thumb, if something is ranging for quite some time, it's best not to fade the direction of the breakout immediately. Allow the trend to play out, allow weakness to show up wherever weakness shows up, and then you can play a reversal, right? So just don't fade the first move is a rule of thumb for me. That was a risk on signal, so I was pretty well prepared heading into the start of last week for the rally that that we're seeing right now. And the number 2 confluence for me, which I'm just going to touch up on, I did talk about it last week as well, was this fake breakout into a breakdown, right? So we have this on the monthly chart, very clean levels, and one major sort of demand block, right? So this demand block, I was expecting to act as demand, and I thought we had a very clean setup with lower lows being set on price on DXY, while RSI range. So you have a pretty strong daily divergence on DXY, which started to reverse, started to break out. You had a market structure break a thrust upwards, which just failed and set a new low. So that's a risk on signal to me, right? So when we had the confluence of this new low set on Monday, as well as ES breaking out upwards, that was kind of my bullish bias for the week. I was like, okay, probably not going to fade the crypto markets. Let's look for long setups. Let's look for what's hot, right? So that helped me capitalize on a lot of what we just experienced. That's pretty much it, right? So that's the confluence for our markets. We're pretty much risk on for the time being. DXY really needs to set a higher high. It needs to take out like 105, like trade back up here, find buyers at 105. Then we can start talking about, a really, really risk off rally for the markets, right? Similarly, ES, right? I didn't touch on it, but this downtrend line, this trend line, is being broken at the current time. We had a daily close above it on Friday. I expect to see continuation. I expect to see this meme line or trend line, just the talk of this to be done with, and we might trade somewhere into the 4200s. That's what I'm prepared for. That's my bias. Okay. Coming to Bitcoin, I talked about Bitcoin last week. I believe we were trading, I don't know where we were trading, 17.3 maybe, I believe. And at that time, I was simply discussing, looking at two things. Let's go into the 4 hour quickly. I was looking at this sort of order block right here, this bearish order block. Let me zoom in real quick so we can look at this, right? We were trading into this order block right here, and you're bearish and you trade, supply and demand. You want to see these have nasty rejections, which is what you got the first tap, right? So you got this tap right here on the 4 hour, you got a rejection. Bears are probably like, okay, we're in comfortable positions. But then as you see price trade back in and trade back into what should be resistance, that's sort of a red flag for bears. And, for me, when I was making the video, price was sitting right in here, 17.3. And for me, I'm like, okay, it's gonna move higher. The natural place for it to move is sort of the 18.2 area, right? So for me, right around 18.2 last week, as price traded into this level, I was looking for something similar. I was like, okay, if we're going to reject here and we got this wick, I was like, let me take a short position. So I took a short position 18.2, expecting this to come down back maybe to 17.5 or something like that. We didn't get that. Immediately, price started trading back above this level. For me, that's me being wrong. You want to see a reaction at the level. You don't want to see consolidation in it. Consolidation at resistance in an uptrend is not really what you want to see. You want to see really strong bearish momentum at those levels, right? Which is not what we saw. Obviously, we got continuation. And then I talked about last week on Bitcoin how the daily 100 and the daily 200 are going to be my guides. So I pulled up these and I talked about if we clear this range high at 18.2, right, confluent with the daily 100 moving average, I said in the video that I expected very quickly for the daily 200 to be tagged, and that's what we got, right? We got this gap fill very easily because there's a big inefficient zone left by the FTX collapse. The last resistance you have is right around here at 21.5, right? Confluent with this prior top, confluent with the daily 200. That's what we got. And over the last 2 days, we have closed underneath the daily 200. I know we're trading above it right now. It's yet to be seen if we close the daily above this or this leaves a wick above it again, right? So now that we've got this move, the question on everyone's mind, and that's going to be the theme of this video for every coin that I cover, is are we going to push up from this location or are we going to get a reset? I think that's the question everyone wants. A lot of people are sidelined, miss the move, and they want to know, should I bid this top or should I wait for a pullback? Well, this is just an experience thing for me. When crypto is bullish, and I haven't, being someone who entered the crypto markets in the 2020 bull run, I've seen crypto be bullish in pockets. And when it's bullish, it doesn't really give you the entries that you want. It just it does something like this, where it impulses, it sort of consolidates. It may have like a liquidity grab and then it impulses, and it is the same thing. It liquidity grabs and then it impulses. It kind of does this repeatedly until it's thoroughly exhausted, until it's rinsed all the bears and it's taken all the euphoria out of the markets, and then you sort of get a distribution, and that distribution is where altcoins go wild and then we reset the whole market. That's kind of what I'm expecting Bitcoin to do right now, especially since we've gotten a reclaim of this, 19, 18K floor, right? So we've had this support level that held us for 6-7 months, right, which was broken below, and now we reclaimed that level. So what everyone's kind of expecting is that, okay, if we trade back into this, they're going to buy it. That's what everyone's thinking. Everyone's idea is the same thing. If we trade back below in here, they're going to buy spot. They're looking at this as a deviation. The market is rarely that kind, and I think it's forcing people to chase, and I think that's what you're kind of seeing right now. So the next logical target for me is going to be a push to 22.5, right? 22.5, very clean daily level at 22.5. I think you push into here, you probably take out this 21.8, I believe it is, high, and then maybe we can talk about a pullback. And that pullback, it could be shallow. It could just take us right back to our current prices at 20.8, and then we could get a continuation. These are all, hypothetical scenarios right now, but what my gut is saying is that, Bitcoin is probably going to push to 22.8, 22.5 before you get that pullback, that everyone wants. That's just my gut. That's what I believe. And going off of that, how do you position in altcoins? This is very tough. And I'm going to actually give you an example before we get into the rest of this watch list on Ape of how you can sort of define risk, right? So it didn't work out, but just an idea of how, if you want to long a top, you have to have a very short leash, right? So if you see a downtrend like this into your moving averages, right? You see a downtrend, right? Into your trend. This trend has been carrying you the entire way up. You can either bid the trend, right, and hope that the trend continues to hold. Or you can combine that with some price action. You could say, okay, look, this is, a breaker candle right here. You've broken structure. You're holding it as support. You can bid into this, and you can say, as long as this is being held, I'll stay bullish and I'll aim for higher. You lose the breaker, you lose the breaker, you lose the trends, you can get out, right? So that could be one way to play into a trend. Another way is to look for laggards, and let's get into that now. So TWT is kind of a laggard with a really good, I'd say high side target, and it recently had a pretty good narrative, being a Binance coin, a CZ coin, a Trust Wallet token, being like, FTX collapsed, and the narrative is self custody, so use self custody things. So this was kind of like in at the time. It's cooled off. It had a big collapse, a big deleveraging event. It's traded in this range. It's taken the low. It's taken mid range. It's trading well above mid range, and it's seemingly holding mid range as support. And if we pull up some moving averages, we pull up the daily 100 and the 200. It's consolidating above the daily 100, below the daily 200. Right. So if you can flip this daily 200 once again, I would naturally believe that this high at 170 gets taken out. This other high at the other end of the range at 175 gets taken out, and acceptance above both of these opens the door for this point of breakdown up here at 210. So that's the trade I'm looking for. This is actually a long that I took around 130, 153, I believe is where I'm in right now, and I'm looking at 175 and 210. So that's the first coin done in the list, TWT. Litecoin, I've covered many times. I have a dedicated video on Litecoin. I'm not going to cover this in too much detail. The gist of Litecoin is that I'm bullish on it. It's flipped its daily 100 and 200s. I'm a buyer anytime these gets tagged. Anytime a prior resistance level gets tagged, I will buy Litecoin, whether that's 75, 76, 77. I don't know when it comes, but if there's a pullback, I'm a buyer on Litecoin. It has the halvening narrative. But if it just continues to chad from here, and the natural target is 107, the way you can define your risk on Litecoin, if you're looking to buy into this, is what buyers are doing right now. We've cleared this 85 level, which was the prior range highs, right? Prior highs. You've cleared that level. You're trading above it, and people are trying to defend it. So your risk to reward right here is, okay, if we close on the daily below 85, I'm going to get out, because we should be defending that. This is a daily trend trade. And then, that's your invalidation, and your high side target is going to be this $74 level, or sorry, excuse me, $94 level point of breakdown, as well as the 107 swing highs. That's Litecoin for me. I'm no longer in a position. I did take a lot of longs from like basically 69 all the way to 88. That's basically I've been long multiple times along this leg. I basically closed out because I'm thinking, okay, I want the pullback trade. So I rotated position, I rotated capital in other places. But that's basically Litecoin done. FSX is very simple. You've got this LSD, which is liquid staking derivative narrative. Everyone's bullish on these. I believe, LDO, Lido, however you pronounce it, is the leader in this category. And I took a long on Lido around 620, and then again at 670. I've closed out the majority of my position up here, but you've got a range breakout, right? You've got a trend line breakout from here. You've got a trend line breakout. You've got higher highs being put in. You've got a market structure break, and now you've got a break of range. So like I said on ES, don't fade a range breakout. In fact, I think this is a place to look to defend, and I think people have already done that on lower time frames at 830, right? So you got a move to 990 all the way back down to 850 this morning, which was defended, and it's pushing up again. That may be the only entry you get, on FS. This is basically how long range breakout trades go, especially when you have a 7-8 month range. The natural high side target for me is going to be probably the bottom right here, confluent with this supply block right around 16. I think you have a crazy trade from 8 to 16. Wild to say, but there's nothing but air here. There's really nothing but air here. You have the liquid staking derivatives. Narrative, and then you've got the clearance of the daily 100 and the daily 200. I don't see any resistance. I think this is just all air, and it's going to move very quickly to 16. I have a small position in this, and I'm looking for 16. That's basically FSX done. OP is a monster. OP, I longed from this level right here, right around 136. and I closed pretty early. I closed like 160s, and it's continued to push higher. The dream scenario on OP for me, and I don't know if we're gonna get it, is a pullback all the way to 30, right? So that's the situation in which OP is exhausted. It's moved, all the way from 88 to, it's done a 2x, right? 88 to 180, 180s, and a pullback should be defended right here. There's a very clean, very obvious high time frame level right around 130, 140, confluent with this demand right here. So that's likely to be defended in the event that OP is exhausted and Bitcoin gets that pullback that everyone wants. I think the natural place to bid OP is 130s right here. I don't feel too comfortable. I don't feel too comfortable buying after a leg like this up here. I don't also feel comfortable shorting this. There is precedent, right? Along this, the OP did have a move down from 180s, 190s, all the way down to this level that we talked about into a push higher. Could we see a repeat of that? Maybe. You could get a repeat of this, but I think there's so much demand right now. People really want to be on this train. Maybe the dip is shallower. Maybe it only gets to 140. Maybe it gets front run and maybe we push higher. This is a situation where you'd be looking at some local trends, right? Some 1221 EMAs, the trends that have been carrying us, right? So the 4-hour trend has been carrying OP. A way to bid into this is kind of just saying, look, I'm going to bid the 4-hour EMA band, and it closes below it, or congestions into it could be a signal for me to get out, right? So that's how you could trend trade OP if you're looking to scalp it, if you're looking to be super aggressive. But other than that, I really want a pullback on OP to reload. I'm not comfortable personally buying into a leg like this. A pullback's going to be inevitable, and whenever it does come, it's going to be sharp, and there'll be a lot of opportunities to position in there. That's basically it for OP. Sushi is pretty cool. So Sushi's been in a long range. It held range lows again. I know this chart's a little bit messy. Let's get rid of some stuff. Get rid of all this. But basically, what you have on Sushi is, again, 7-8 month range. The range lows were held, right? You consolidated, you put in a lot of buying right here. You broke structure, right? So you had a point of breakdown where you broke structure. And I think for me now on Sushi, I think there's confluence in the EMAs. Let's take a look at this. That's the 4-hour. I want the daily. Okay, so on Sushi, it's traded above the daily 100. It's found buyers at 119 at the daily 100. The natural place for me on Sushi is going to be, again, that gap fill to the daily 200 around 150. The way that you could get into Sushi is you could bid down here 119, 120s. You can also bid this block at 110s. That, again, is that flush narrative. If you get the flush and you get to bid, you get to buy 110, that's beautiful, and then you can take it to 150. Again, I don't know if the market's going to be so kind and give you guys these entries. Yeah, there was a trade just now, right? Like you could have bid, yeah, right now you could have just gotten that 120, 119 entry. Yeah, if you get that 120, 119 entry, it's very clean, right? You have a really, really clean level here that's being put in on lower time frames, right around that 121 mark. Closes below 121, obviously open up, pull back all the way to the 110s. That's how you can kind of, take a risk defined long on Sushi right now, but I'm pretty bullish on this. It held the range lows. It put in a lot of ranging on lower time frames down here at the 90s. I think there's a lot of accumulation on Sushi. I expect this to make its way all the way back down, all the way back up, back up to like the 190 region. But for now, I'm targeting 150s. If you guys can get an entry at the daily 100, that's super cool. I haven't gotten an entry on this, but I'm pretty bullish at least to 150 on Sushi. Okay, that is all these coins done. I haven't done ETH, but I don't think ETH is too necessary. If you're in spot ETH, continue to hold spot ETH. This looks incredible. The only thing you really can talk about on ETH is, let's pull up this chart here. There's a clean weekly $1,350 level, which is pretty much defined Ethereum throughout its price history, right? So it was the weekly close highs. It was a major weekly SR flip that led to the 4K parabola, right? So you rejected off 1350, you put in a 30% correction, you traded above it, you held 1350 as support, you launched to 4K, right? So this has kind of been defining us lately too. So if we go to the daily, look how cleanly it defines us here. You have a bullish order block, you've got support here on this wick, you've got a bunch of ranging at this level. This was a point of breakdown, this was these highs right here. So you're trading well above it. If you get Ethereum back to 1350 in some case, you just bid, man. You don't worry about anything. You buy this level. It's too clean of a level not to defend. But yeah, man, it's got a lot of momentum right now. I would be shocked if Ethereum stopped anywhere shy of 1800, which is really not a tall task given that Ethereum's already trading at 1600 or 1600 right now, right? So pretty bullish on Ethereum. I don't think you trade this. If you're in spot bags right now, you're comfy. You don't do much. You don't really take profits here either, right? You're thinking about long term. You're thinking about the bull market. You're looking for signs of exhaustion. You're looking for a blow off top. Study prior tops, right? You even in parabola, even in all these things, there's still consolidations and pushes higher, right? So even if it does something like this, you can expect a push higher. You can expect a push higher. That's kind of what I'm expecting on Ethereum right now over the next sort of month, however long this lasts, until DXY starts putting in higher highs again and ES starts breaking down. It's kind of what I'm expecting Ethereum to just continue very strongly. That's really it for Ethereum. You can kind of just follow the same game plan. It actually has cleared all its moving averages, the daily 100, the daily 200. Local trends are really strong. The H4 200 EMA, like look how low it is, right? If you get a pullback confluent with the daily 100, the H4 200 EMA, you buy that. There's really nothing else to it. That is Ethereum done. Okay, let's get into the requests now. I'm not going to be covering these in too much length. Basically, just giving you guys the idea. So Solana's in a really strong uptrend. It's breaking all resistances. We don't need these daily 100s. What I really want to talk about is, as I marked out on here, is the H4 trend, right? So the H4 trend has carried us all the way from the lows, right? So let's look at this real quick. The H4 trend from this mid range at $14 was resistance all the way down into the SFP, all the way down into this $9 SFP. It consolidated on the H4 trend. It blasted above it. It's been holding the H4 trend as support the entire way. So until Solana loses the H4 trend, I wouldn't look to short this. If you're in spot bags, continue to ride them. What's the rush? They're spot bags for a reason. There's no leverage. You have a long-term outlook. If you bought Solana at $13, $12, $8, whatever it may be, learn how to ride the trend so you don't sell too early. So that's basically it for Solana. It's in a mild, what do you call it? Supply block, right? A mild H4 supply block on the daily. I don't think there's anything there on the daily. Exactly, right? What I would expect is Solana to continue ripping upwards. Where's the daily 200? Right. So I think it's going to move at least to $30. I think $30 is your psychological level. I think $30 is your pre-FTX breakdown level. That's the daily 200 EMA. If this breaks to the upside, I think you're going to get a very quick, swift move to $30. I have spot Solana. This is where I'm selling. I think I made a very good trade on spot Solana all the way to $30. If it continues moving upwards, the evolving R of this trade is no longer going to be that crazy. I don't think we're starting a new bull market right now. I think there's plenty of time to reaccumulate Solana. You may revisit these levels or you may not. Maybe $30 ends up being defended from here on out. But then again, if that's the case, we can rebuy at $30. That's pretty much all my thoughts are on Solana. Watch the H4 trend for a breakdown. If you want to bid into this, again, use the same technique I talk about the other time, is just, look to defend the H4 trend. The trend is your friend. AVAX, not as strong as Solana, not as strong as a trend. It is crowding, I believe. Yeah, it's more crowding the H4 trend, but it is holding it. As far as the daily 100 and 200s, the daily 200 is confluent with this prior top. So we have the FTX top. I believe that over the course of the next few weeks, days, whatever it may be, that AVAX is going to make its way to take out this high at $20. There is a breaker set up right here that's being defended. This move quick move based on some Amazon partnership news, right? Not much to say, guys. These are trending assets. They're really strong. Where would I look to defend a pullback? All the way down here at the daily 100. If this rolls over back to 14 prior range highs, daily 100, I would look to defend that. There's liquidity down here, right? So you've got these wicks down here around 1450, right? So if this rolls over down to 1450, I'd be looking for maybe the daily trend, right? The H4 200 EMA, right? Maybe this moves up to here. Confluence of the daily trend, confluence of liquidity, confluence of prior range highs. You would defend that. You would aim for $20. All things being equal, that's the trade. That's the macro trade for AVAX. I think there's better opportunities out there from an RR perspective, but if you're interested in AVAX, that's what it is. Atom is very clean for me. Atom has a very clean look at the last weekly watch list video I did. Look at the timestamps. I was covering this very significant weekly SR level. Right, I'm bearish below it, I'm bullish above it. Reclaiming this is pretty strong, pretty bullish for Atom. Any dips below this level and reclaims any SFPs of this level, long signal, right? I would be aiming for these highs right here at 1450. Again, range highs at 17. That's kind of the continuation play for Atom. For me, you defend the pullbacks as long as you're closing weeklies above 1160. You should be high time frame bullish on Atom. At least that's how I'm trading Atom. The daily 100 to 200s. Let's pull these up right now. It's above both, right? It's above both and seemingly trying to hold the daily 200 as support right now. Again, if you get a dip all the way down to 1080 at the daily 100, that is a dip buy for me. Confluent again with the H4 200 EMA. Both of these are moving up together. By the time we get that dip at 1160-ish, maybe both of these are confluent with the SR level, with the weekly level. We got to see what we can get. If you're bullish on Atom right here, your invalidation is going to be pretty difficult. It's going to be a weekly close below. So if you close the weekly below here, I think that's pretty bearish. Then you probably wipe out all this grind down. I would be bearish on Atom if it closed a weekly below 1160. Other than that, I believe drops down here are for buying. Pretty strong trend. MATIC I covered in detail. MATIC again, I was looking for swing shorts on, believing that we were in a lower high, lower low structure. I covered that in the last video. If you guys are interested, go to the timestamps in the last weekly watch list video. Check out MATIC. I spent a lot of time covering that one. So MATIC is, again, it's breaking out of this range that it's been trading in for a very long time. If you use the daily 100s and 200s, again, the same thing that I've been talking about, they are compressing. MATIC is traded in this range forever now. I don't know if we're going to get that $30 or the 30-cent buy again. It's pretty hard to imagine that every time we have massive FUD in markets, MATIC seemingly holds this level. It has a lot of demand. We can't argue with the market participants. They're defending the levels. So how do you bid into this? Again, daily 100, 200. You get a pullback into here, which would be mid-range, right? If you take the high and low of the initial consolidation after the breakout, the mid-range is going to come in confluent with the daily 100, the daily 200, and the H4 200 EMA. So a pullback on MATIC into 86 or something like that, 84, 85, 86, that's for buying higher targets. Again, everything is in an uptrend now. You can't deny the trend. Again, look, this is a high, this is a low, this is a lower high, this is a lower low. So it's a downtrend. But you've broken that. We've broken out of that. You've broken structure. So if you're taking price action techniques, you use a breaker, right? So what would be a breaker for us on MATIC? Let me remove all these EMAs. Right, this is your breaker. This is supply, which should now be demand. Right, so you would look to defend the breaker. However you want to define your breaker, on whatever time frame you want to define your breaker. This is basically the level that's confluent with mid-range, that's confluent with the EMAs, that's confluent with the trend, that's confluent with the H4 EMA. Right, so that's kind of what you're looking to bid into. I think a lot of people's mentality right now is that this is just simply a short squeeze. It's not going to last a lot longer. The markets are just this is the yearly open rally, and it's just going to correct massively. It could be. But the way I trade, you're above these trends, you're bullish, you're going to defend them when they get tested. When we start dropping below them, when we lose them, we'll get bearish again. Very, very simple. The reason I was bearish right here was a similar reason. I was thinking, okay, maybe we squeeze above it, maybe we tag the daily 200, the daily 100, we reject off of it, and then we set a new low. I actually did take a scalp trade right here. I was successful. I took profits, and I'm glad I did, because look, it just held the daily trends and pushed higher. That's pretty much all my thoughts are on MATIC. CRV. CRV, okay, I already have a drawing on here of my thoughts on CRV. So we have a pretty cool, pretty nasty rejection of the 200, of the daily 200, right? You have a breaker set up here. Again, I don't want to long the top on CRV. I'm not that interested in the CRV narrative. For me, again, this is another one of those pullback plays, like AVAX and the other ones that I talked about. If it pulls back, I want to bid around 70 cents. That's where I would accumulate. That's where I would defend. That would be confluent with the daily trend. That would be confluent with all this liquidity sweep. That would be confluent with the daily 100. You've got a very clean level here, and you aim for these highs at 105. If it's going to push from here, or if you're bullish from here, or you're bull biased from here, you want to position the natural area to take profits is going to be the daily 200 confluent with this supply zone, which is kind of what it already just did. So I believe that this just, it accomplished the long trade already. Like, you got the long profits out of this already on CRV. For me, I don't love it. I don't love it too much. I don't love it too much. But yeah, from a pure price action perspective, if I'm ignoring all the trends, I want to pull back into here. I don't know if the market's going to give that. It might just continue to push all the way up to 105. And when it pushes to 105, this is what it could look like. It could push to 105, and then you could come back and you could just test this demand area, and then it could continue. That's a possibility. But where it is right now is too much of no man's land for me to give an objective view. I'd either want it to push higher, SFP the level, reject the daily 200, reject this prior top, look for some shorts, short it back into this area of consolidation, or look to long it down here at green. I don't really want to do business at this sort of mid-range no man land region. That's CRV done. That's curve. Okay, FTM. These are all going to be the same thing, guys. FTM, if you're looking to bid FTM, once again, it's just going to be the H4 trend. I believe the H4 trend, the H4 trend has been carrying FTM this entire leg all the way from 19 cents, 20 cents. We're at 32 right now. I've already drawn it here. Like, if the H4 trends start to roll over and price starts losing the H4 trends, I think you can get a short. I think you can short FTM from a loss of the H4 trends. Your invalidation is going to be if it reclaims it, right? You can short the H4 trend breakdown and into a daily the daily trend retest, which is the H4 200 EMA, right? So that's a short setup that I'm looking at for FTM. This is one of the exhaustive markets. This is one of the ones that went absolutely bonkers very early. If it's going to have a correction into the daily trend, this is where you could buy for a continuation, or you could also short the H4 trend loss. And this applies to all coins, right? Any coin that's responding to its H4 trend on the way up is likely going to respond to its H4 trend on the way down. Like, look at Solana, right? I already pointed this one out, but like, look how clean this is, that it responded to the H4 trend all the way down and all the way up, right? So you can find actionable trades if you combine some just very clean SR levels with the H4 trend on the way up and the way down. So that's pretty much it for FTM, I believe. Let me see one more look at this on the daily. Right, look at how cleanly it's rejecting the daily 200, right? So you're rejecting the daily 200 right now. If you get a pullback, like I said, I even drew it out right here. Price action wise, this gray box is probably where you're going to look to defend. There's confluence again. I'm a broken record, guys. This is just my system. I'm just going to repeat my system on every coin if you're watching this video all the way through. Right, reject the daily 200, bid the daily 100, confluent with the breaker, confluent with the H4 200 EMA, etc., etc. Then you look for higher side targets. The higher side targets are going to be probably 44. Right, I don't want to open up a position at the daily 200. If I'm in a position, I'm taking profits here. That's as simple as it is. Lose the H4 trend, I'm looking for a short. That's FTM done. APT. APT is at a very clean level. Like, look how clean this level is. resistance, resistance, big breakdown. You're trading back into it. You're SFPing this entire level. For me, this could be one of the better short markets. If you're looking for downside protection, APT did put in, like, what is this move? Excuse me. Oh, almost out of battery. It's all right. We're almost done with the watch list. It put in a 3x, $3 to about $9. It pretty much put in a 3x. I don't know who is so ravenously hungry to bid APT into new all-time highs. I just don't think it's there. I think whoever is smart enough to long this entire leg has taken profits. I think this is just going to be a scalper's market at the moment, taking liquidity from both sides because there's probably just like a ton of volume. Again, this is another H4 trend example. Losing the H4 trend, that could be your short trigger. Looking for a market structure break could be a short trigger. The SFPs alone could just be bait. If you're going off of this, your invalidation is super difficult. Let's say you short right here, your invalidation is a 9% wick. That's pretty hard to position for. A lot of people don't have the risk tolerance to hold underwater for 9% of a move. And even then, it could just euphorically, with a Bitcoin move upwards, could take out this high and then close back. It could just, take out your stop loss and close below it. APT is not something I'm looking to buy. In fact, it could be one of the better short markets like FTM is for me. But first of all, lose the H4 trend, continue SFPing this level. That's a short trigger. What you would do is just like FTM, you would short on a back test of the H4. You would short it into probably this daily trend into this demand cluster right here, something like that, right? That's APT for me. METIS, this is another coin requested by someone in Discord. It's one of the better ones that I liked out of the ones that this person suggested. He suggested out of 5 or 6 coins, this is one of the ones that I liked, simply because it's trading onto the daily 100 right now. It's reclaimed a significant level, right? So it's shown demand, and it's not just been a spike. It hasn't been just one candle pushing this upwards. It's multiple daily bidded candles, right? So there is demand for this coin. So to me, if this continues to consolidate in this area, like it's rejecting right here around 24, 23, someone's taking profits. But if you consolidate in this level, the natural place to bid is going to be if these moving averages converge. If this daily trend, which is the H4 200 MA, converges with the daily 100, I would say that's a buying point right there, and you would get that, gnarly, massive gap fill to 31. I think this is a really cool trade. Whoever pointed this out, thank you, because this is going to be one that I am going to be looking to take as well. Any pullbacks sort of into 2021, I think this is a really cool coin to take as far as a daily 100 to daily 200 gap fill. There's nothing but inefficiency. Let's get rid of this trend right here. Let's get rid of this one right here. There's nothing but inefficiency, and you're already finding buyers at this demand block, right? You're already finding buyers and sellers in here. So if this continues to consolidate in this level, I think you get a move like this. You need a quick move above this level. You probably close up here on a daily, and maybe the next day puts in, like crypto does this like no other, right? Maybe the next day puts in like a 30% candle. Like we can't rule that out, right? And the confluence you have here is just like a lot of other targets where you have the daily 200 and you've got this supply right here. Really cool trade. Thank you to whoever pointed this one out. It's one that I'm going to be monitoring. Okay, what do we got left? ZCX. It's hard for me to say. This is I wrote it right here. This is an SZ coin. Trader1SC loves to pump this coin. This could get pretty interesting. It's had a long accumulation. Someone has been accumulating the hell out of this coin. Probably CT influencers have been accumulating the hell out of this coin. It's had a breakout. It's retested it. I think it got a nice daily, weekly. Look at this. It's setting up really nice market structure for a pretty insane rally. Obviously, it's getting rejected by the daily 100 right now. I don't know, man. Like just yesterday, I was looking at this around 80 cents or 8 cents or something like that, thinking, hey, man, if CT starts really pumping this coin, it could get nutty. It could put in another move like this. It went from 4 cents to 24, right, in a couple days. it could do the same thing once more. This is a long period accumulation. You're breaking out right now. Clear the daily 100. Man, that opens up a lot of this. It opens up a lot of this again, and that is pretty exciting. So ZCX Unison might be something that I just buy a little bit of spot of. Just buy a little bit of a spot of in this no leverage, nothing like that, and just look for, I don't know, man, a 2x to unload on. This thing could get nutty. It's got a history of that, and there's a lot of accumulation that has just occurred. Accumulation, breakout, range breakouts. I've said it multiple times in this video already as far as FXS and ES goes. Okay, and the last coin is Sweat. I don't really know the narrative on Sweat. It's something about a move to earn, but it does have a pretty clean SR flip right here. So I have the H4 200 EMA. Let's pull that up. SR flip, H4 200 EMA, looks pretty solid. Honestly, this is one that you could bid, buy a little bit of spot of, look to take out this high. If you get a continuation, man, the daily 100 could be a juicy target. You'd be clearing out a lot of these highs. Maybe you don't get that high. Maybe we just go to here, right? Still, 11 to 15, that's a 50% rally. No, that is bad math. Okay, we're more closer to 12 we're more closer to 12 cents or whatever this is, 0.012 instead of 10 cents. But yeah, 33% rally is in the cards. It is putting in an SR flip at the moment. This to me is pretty bullish market structure. You have accumulation, you have a breakout, you're SR flipping, you're trading above the daily trend. Yeah, man, to me this looks like a pretty solid coin in Sweat. This could be a spot position. I think it's on KuCoin. So yeah, spot bags. I don't know if it's going to have perps. Buy a little spot here. Your invalidation is going to be if it starts closing under this green box right here. Close under this green box, that's a failed breakout, right? Then you would be looking at this kind of like this deviation of the H4 trend, right, where it wasn't able to hold it. But right now you're seemingly trying to hold it as support. You have multiple days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days above this level with an SR flip. Looks good to me, guys. Looks good to me. All right, guys, 40-minute video. I covered a lot of stuff in here. If you guys made it to the end of this video, leave a comment. Leave a comment telling me that you watched the entire video. I don't think one of you is going to watch the entire video. I would be utterly shocked if you guys watched a 40-minute video of me talk. But I'm going to do it anyways. I don't mind doing these videos, and I'm going to be doing them every week. So yeah, like I said, leave requests for charts in the Discord. Join the Discord. Follow me on Twitter if you're finding me on YouTube. And yeah, that's going to do it for this video, guys. See you next week in week 3. Peace.